You ask what I did in freedom. I lived. And without those 3 blessed days, my life would have been more sorrowful and dark than your own powerless old age. Long had I dreamed to look upon the distant fields, to learn if earth is truly fair, to know are we born for freedom or for prison in this world. And in the night's most dreadful hour, when the storm frightened you, when gathered at the altar you all lay prostrate on the floor, I fled. Oh, like a brother, I'd have embraced the storm with joy. With my eyes I followed clouds, with my hand I longed to seize the lightning. Tell me, what could you have given me within these walls in place of that brief yet living bond between my storming heart and the tempest? I ran for long. Where to? Where? I don't know. Not a single star lit up the difficult path. It felt good just to breathe into my tormented chest the night's fresh air of those woods, and nothing more. For many hours I ran, and finally, worn out, I lay down among tall grass. I listened. No chase behind. The storm had ceased. A pale light stretched in a long stripe between the dark sky and earth, and I could see, like embroidery, the jagged edges of distant peaks. Still, silent, I lay. At times, in the ravine, a jackal cried and wailed like a child, and with its glistening scaly skin a snake slithered through the rocks, but fear did not seize my soul. I too, like a beast, was foreign to man, and crawled and hid like a snake. Far below, beneath me, a stream swollen by the storm roared, and its muffled sound was like 100 angry voices. Though wordless, its talk was clear to me, an endless murmur, an eternal feud with the stubborn mass of stone. At times it hushed, at times grew loud, and echoed through the silence. And then, in misty heights, the birds began to sing, and east turned gold. A little breeze stirred the dampened leaves, the sleepy flowers breathed again, and like them, toward the day, I raised my weary head. I looked around. I won't deny it. I was afraid. On the edge of a menacing abyss I lay, where swirling raged a furious wave. Steps on rock led down that way, but only a cursed spirit trod them. When hurtled down from the heavens, it vanished in the chasm below. Around me bloomed God's garden. A rainbow garment of plants held the traces of heavenly tears, and the curls of grapevines twined and boasted among the trees with the transparent green of their leaves, and on them heavy clusters, like precious earrings, hung in splendor, and at times a timid flock of birds flew to them. Again I pressed myself to the ground, and again I began to listen to the magical, strange voices. They whispered among the bushes, as if discussing among themselves the secrets of heaven and earth, and all voices of nature merged together. Yet in that solemn hour of praise not a single proud human voice arose. All that I felt then, those thoughts, they've left no trace, but I would wish to tell them, to live them again, if only in thought. That morning the vault of heaven was so clear that a keen eye might follow an angel's flight, It was so transparently deep, so full of steady blue. In it I sank with eyes and soul until the midday heat dispelled my dreams, and thirst began to torment me. Then down to the stream from the heights, clutching the flexible shrubs from stone to stone as best I could, I began to descend. From under my feet a stone would sometimes break loose and tumble down. Behind it a trail smoked and dust curled in a column, rumbling and bouncing. It was swallowed by the waves, and I hung over the abyss, but free youth is strong, and death seemed not terrible. Once I had descended from the steep heights, the coolness of the mountain waters blew toward me, and I eagerly bent to the wave. Suddenly, a voice, a light sound of steps, immediately hiding among the bushes, seized by involuntary trembling, I raised a fearful glance and began to listen intently. And nearer, nearer came a young Georgian girl's voice, so naturally alive, so sweetly free, as if accustomed only to pronounce the names of friends. It was a simple song, but it sank into my mind, and when twilight falls, its unseen spirit sings to me. Holding a jug above her head, a Georgian girl walked down a narrow path toward the river. At times she slipped between the stones, laughing at her own awkwardness. Her clothing was simple. She moved lightly, casting back the long folds of her veil. The summer heat had gilded her face and chest in golden shade, and warmth breathed from her lips and cheeks, and the darkness of her eyes was so deep, so full of love's secrets, that my burning thoughts grew confused. I only remember the jug's ringing when the stream slowly poured into it, and the rustling, nothing more. When I awoke again, and the blood had left my heart, she was already far away. And though softer, she still walked lightly and slender under her burden, like a poplar, queen of her fields. Not far off, in the cool dusk, two huts seemed to cling to the cliff like a friendly pair. Above the flat roof of one, a blue thread of smoke curled. I see it still, it seems, how the door quietly creaked open and then shut again. You, I know, cannot understand my longing, my sorrow, and if you could, I'd be sorry. Let the memories of those minutes die within me and with me. Worn out from the night's exertion, I lay in the shade. A pleasant sleep closed my eyes without my will, and again I saw in my dreams the image of the young Georgian girl. And with a strange sweet ache, my chest throbbed again. I struggled long to breathe and awoke. The moon already shone above, and only one small cloud crept after it, as if after prey, spreading its greedy arms. The world was dark and silent, only with a silver fringe the snowy peaks in the distance sparkled before me, and the stream splashed on the shore. In the familiar hut a little flame flickered, then died, then flared again. On the midnight sky a bright star fades the same. I longed to go, but I dared not. One goal alone, to return to my native land, was in my soul, and I overcame the torment of hunger as best I could. And so I set off on a straight path, timid and silent. But soon, deep in the forest, I lost sight of the mountains and began to wander from the way. In vain, in fury, I would sometimes tear with desperate hand the thorn bush entangled in ivy. It was forest, endless forest all around, and each hour darker and more dense, and with a million black eyes the night's darkness watched me, through every branch and bush. My head began to spin. I started to climb trees, but even at the edge of the sky the same jagged forest loomed. Then I fell to the ground, and in delirium I wept and bit the damp earth's chest, and tears flowed into it like burning dew. But believe me, I did not wish for human help. I was a stranger to them forever, like a steppe beast, and if a single cry, even for a moment, had escaped me, I swear, old man, I would have torn out my feeble tongue.